Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Another season of football, the Ravens Wrap Show kicking off year number 10 here. We're in year number 2 here on Comcast Beach TV, year number 5 on Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox, 127th Street at Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens Roost 44, give yourselves a hand. Joining us once again. And, of course, we want to thank our fine sponsors, the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, our friends at Geico, Bud Light, the Ocean City Golf Club, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and Holiday Inn Express. I'm Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. To my left, of course, Bobby Vermillion, who hosted the old Stallion Show back in the day. And, of course, you host a million golf shows now, so you're all over the place.
I'm still loving playing golf, Mike, and always love talking about the Ravens, so looking forward to another great year.
Yeah. Editor-in-chief of 5 straight years, Baltimore's Best. Can we give the new name of the website? I'll let you give the new name of the website, Tony. Tony Lombardi.
Got to give a little bit of background, though.
Okay, go ahead.
We didn't want to change the name. You know, Ravens 24/7, near and dear to our hearts, but we had to help the Ravens preserve their trademark. That's the party line. The new name, borrowing from, remember 33rd Street with the Colts fans? I know a lot of you do. So we're going to take the name Russell Street Report, and that's going to be the name of our new site, russellstreetreport.com.
All right.
So, hope you like it.
24/7.
You can get there the same way.
And former Lehigh College player and OC local, and the man that had to come with a red shirt today and screw everything up.
He's a red shirt freshman.
You know,
he thought it was broadcast in black and white.
Well, I mean, are you Joe Flatt? You can't be hit. You're wearing the quarterback the red practice jersey today.
Don't hit me.
Of course, John Gehrig.
I'm on fire, baby.
I can't wait to see what he has to say about Ray Rice now he has his contract. So we'll put John Gehrig a hand for him.
So someone else.
But we're back. It's good to see everybody. Welcome in, and great to have the panel back as we have done for the last several years. So good to have the continuity, guys. We've got a lot to talk about, and let's start off, of course, with the off season. The additions, the losses, and get your take. Just some names out there, some new names. Ravens personnel, Jacoby Jones, wide receiver that we picked up. Also Bobby Williams, a left guard from Cincinnati. Make Kimeamatu, our former nose tackle. I probably butchered that name.
You did okay.
Oh, okay. Sean Considine, Corey Graham, some guys that will help in the secondary and special teams. Of course, some of the key losses, Ben Grubbs, Jared Johnson, Ricky Williams retired, Tom Zbikowski, Haruki Nakamura, Brandon McKinney, and I don't think anybody's crying over Lee Evans going to Jacksonville. And then we had a nice draft as well. But guys, talk about some of the additions and losses and your thoughts about them.
Well, it was interesting. Obviously, the big one, the most recent one, was Billy Cundiff. You know, I think everybody going into camp didn't think that the rookie would beat him out, but the kid just outkicked him. And I think it was a good thing because I really was scared for Ravens fans to watch him come to M&T Bank Stadium, miss a couple kicks, maybe struggle early. And you know the fans were not going to forget that field goal he missed up in New England. So I think it's an exciting thing that the Ravens saved some money. They've got a young guy with a great leg. He seems to be accurate. He seems to have a lot of confidence. So it'll be interesting to see how that situation plays out. And obviously, you know, we always have a saying as Ravens fans, in Ozzie we trust. And it looks like he did another great job putting an awesome team together for this year.
Tony, John Harbaugh has a special teams background, although mixed reviews on the overall performance. But obviously, he knows special teams players and kickers, and younger, cheaper, and stronger leg. They went that route, and I guess we'll see. Though I'm interested to see when he has to line up for, say, a 40-yarder to maybe win the game against Cincinnati next Monday night.
Well, I think you can say, too, that Billy Cundiff didn't make a 32-yarder to take us to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So,
and let me just say this about Billy Cundiff, too. It wasn't necessarily that he missed it. It was how he missed it. I mean, it was so bad that it was just a choke. And that was the thing that, you can miss it a little bit left, maybe hit the upright. But he hooked it so bad it wasn't even close. And that makes it pretty bad. That sticks in your mind.
It was bad. The Ravens made the right move going with Justin Tucker. From what I saw at training camp all summer, he's just the better kicker, stronger leg, more accurate. And I think he's a guy, if Billy Cundiff, people want to say that 2011 was a bad year for him, and it was, but he had a great year in 2010. 2010 was the aberration, not 2011, because if you look at his history, he's a 75% field goal kicker, and that's what he was last year, give or take a point or two. But I think they made the right move, and I think this guy's got a lot more upside. If Billy Cundiff, there are Billy Cundiffs on the street right now. If Justin Tucker ends up being the next Stephen Hauschka, there's another Billy Cundiff waiting for him. So, sure. But getting back to some of the other moves, Bobby Williams, a nice replacement for Ben Grubbs, who to me was one of the big losses this offseason. But Bobby Williams is a guy that can step in and fill in pretty well. And the other guy that for me that was the big loss, and so far I haven't seen a guy to step in and do that dirty work, setting the edge kind of thing for the Ravens in the run game is Jarrett Johnson. Okay. So I think that's a guy who's going to be very well missed.
John, your thoughts on the offseason?
Here we go.
Well, I'm of the opinion, and we discussed this, that the preseason games do matter. A lot of people
they do.
Think the preseason game. It's funny how we think I think all fans are like this with their team. If their team comes out and puts up points in the preseason, then preseason matters. If they come out and stink up the joint, it's just preseason. It doesn't matter. I think preseason matters. No player goes out at any time and just says, I think I'll just give 50% today. So when you go out and take your snaps, I think the players try hard, and I think they try hard to excel. So I think the preseason was somewhat disconcerting, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll just have to see how it comes together. Tony and I were speaking off air. Last year, the Ravens didn't have a great preseason and came out and took it to everybody. So took it to the Steelers.
Guys, I guess an overall theme in general this year, though, you talk about the losses, Ben Grubbs, Jarrett Johnson. We've got a lot of young guys being asked to step up and take much bigger roles. And in a way, it's kind of a time of transition. So as you pointed out, the preseason was important for guys like a Paul Kruger, a Pernell McPhee, Arthur Jones, guys that now are going to have to step up and start make contributions. I'm very interested to see how those guys do. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think two guys that I really was looking forward in the preseason, Sergio Kendall and then, of course, Courtney Upshaw. And I think if you look at their preseason, obviously Upshaw was a little bit banged up, but he really wasn't a factor in any of the preseason games, and neither was Sergio Kendall. And that's what we were counting on, like you talked about, sealing the edge and getting some pressure on the quarterback. So, we'll have to see how that plays out. If we remember last year, us, as Ravens fans, we watched Torrey Smith struggle, during the preseason, couldn't catch a cold. He came out in the regular season and became, a really, really good football player, and look forward to him being even better this year. So it'll be interesting to see how Upshaw, as well as a guy like Kendall, play this week against Cincinnati and then throughout the season.
And Tony, you take a look at, you talk about the pass rushing situation. Terrell Suggs, a huge loss for probably most of, if not the entire year. Who's going to be that guy to get to the passer? It's going to have to be by committee, but I don't know that anybody really stepped up and shined. And Paul Kruger is a guy's name that sticks out. He did not win any of his one-on-one battles in the preseason.
No, and this kind of gets what John was saying before with the preseason. It's important for those young players, and I think it's important to set a tone for what the season's going to be like. But at the same time, a lot of these guys don't have the opportunity to play with each other in a game situation. I was able to see some of that in practice, and they seem to be gelling pretty well. But when you see it out there on the field and they're limiting the number of snaps these guys can take with each other, a football game is a progression. And John, having played the game at a high level, that when you go through the progressions and you wear down your opponent, a lot of times the difference between a good player and a very good player manifests itself in the third and fourth quarter. And you don't see that because the repetitions are limited in preseason.
John,
yes.
Well, I know you like,
particularly on the offensive side of the ball. That's why on the offensive line, everybody was curious. maybe even worried about the offensive line. And offensive line didn't do that bad of a job. And what you're saying definitely manifests itself on the offensive side when you can beat on these guys and throughout the course of a game and get the running game going. So you can't really judge. The one thing you can't really judge a whole lot of is the running game when you only have a quarter of snaps.
Right.
You know, what's going to happen. So it's tough. Preseason's tough. I'm glad it's over, of course, and now let's get it on.
We've got, I guess, 2 defensive linemen. They're taking starting roles, and McPhee and Jones on the line. We've got at linebacker 2 new outside guys, and of course Courtney Upshaw was supposed to be that guy, but with his injury situation, Albert McClellan's going to be stepping in. So 2 new linebackers in the outside. We still have young corners in the secondary. Again, a big time of transition for this defense, and they're going to get tested pretty early with that schedule, which is pretty daunting when you take a look at the first 4 games outside of Cleveland. Even that's a divisional game.
Yeah, I think, if we look at the preseason, John alluded to a little bit, it is a good test of what's ahead of you. But, Kerry Williams obviously struggled. It was interesting. He turned down that 3 or 4 year contract for $15 million. He decided to, roll the dice and see if he's worthy of a big contract next year. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, Ladarius Webb, I think he played pretty well. The snaps are limited, but on the offensive side of the ball, you talked about the offensive line. It was interesting to see what happened this past week with McKinney. Maybe you can talk to that a little bit, Tony, because it looked like they were ready to move on if he wasn't going to renegotiate his contract. And we all know that there's a lot been written about Michael Orr saying that he's not the perfect fit for a left tackle. So if we'd have gotten rid of McKinney, who I think is a really good player, and when he wants to play, it would have been a big factor if we'd have let him go and had to put Orr on the left side. Interesting enough, San Diego signed Jared Gaither after a good performance of about 6 or 7 games to a 4-year, $24 million or $26 million deal. Wow. Guess what happened to him? He came up with back spasms. He hadn't played in the preseason, and he's not going to start in week 1. Who knows who will play again? So buyer beware. Yeah. Again, in Ozzie we trust. I think we made a good decision letting a guy like Jared Gaither go.
That was a good decision, and what the Ravens did this week with Bryant McKinney is very unlike the organization, because the Ravens organization is one that they have an outstanding facility. They've got great leadership from the owner right down through to the water boys, and they just, a great front office, good coaching staff. They treat their players with respect. They have been known to be a player-friendly organization. This was a situation that bucks all those trends. This is a situation where they strong-armed Bryant McKinney into taking less money, and he had no other choice. Here's a guy who's getting 50% of his wages garnished right now, and they're making him take less money because it's September 5th and or September 4th and you decide to make that move. He's got no other choices. If he goes onto the waiver wire, chances are teams are not going to pick him up for week 1 because it has no time to prepare for it. Right. And if he goes beyond week 1, then he isn't guaranteed his money for the rest of the year if he's picked up by a team. So they really strong-armed him, and it's really unlike the Ravens to do such a thing. But I guess he kind of screwed them, too, in the offseason.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, and guys, we could get into that as we're wrapping up this segment. Let's talk more about that coming up with the Bryant McKinney situation, the offensive line, and the offense in general as well. I think it's going to be really interesting. They're going to have to shoulder more of the load this year, and we'll see how that comes about. I think they have more personnel to do it. More of the Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach next.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.